This is Kuala Lumpur, the financial and commercial hub of Malaysia. A bustling city with a population of more than 8 million people. Kuala Lumpur is known for its unpredictable, notorious traffic jam, where air pollution is part of the hazard of city living. Meet Irfan, born and bred in the city, but pursues the most unlikely passion.
Hi, I'm Irfan Muhammad. I am a permaculture designer and urban farmer, and welcome to Urban Hijau.
This is Urban Hijau, or Green Urban. It is a space created within the city to raise the awareness of our environment and the importance of an eco-friendly world. But this is not just a park or a garden. It started off as a pilot project to prove that it is possible to create a space of a living, breathing, organic farm within the urban environment.
The Urban Hijau Organic Farm occupies more than 3,000 square meters of land located at the heart of a highly populated residential area surrounded by high-rise buildings. It used to be an abandoned piece of land meant for a housing project, but a group of young professionals decided to turn it into an experimental farm in 2014. It took Irfan and his other founder members almost 5 years to develop the farm before they could see the fruits of their labor. Today, they have more than 150 species of plants grown and nurtured here in the farm, with at least 20% fruit trees.
So Urban Hijau started as a place for us to prove we could grow food in the city. That was the first goal we had, and we achieved it. Second goal was to prove we could grow food consistently in the city. Again, we have achieved it. Today, our goal is to address the two main issues of the urban space. Number one is food security. As we know, the food that the fellow urbanite eats travels several thousand kilometers to get to their plate. Secondly, to address the issue of urban waste management. And again, a lot of the urban waste ends up in the landfill. So currently, our goal is to address those two issues.
From an experimental farm to a viable, profitable business. As their farm produce increases in output, they could even provide supplies to regular business customers.
So 2015 to 2019, we were friends to figure out what to do, how to do, right? Because the profit is right. So in the early years, we all had our full-time jobs, and we would come here on the weekends. And we also had a full-time gardener back then. So we pretty much ran the place out of pocket, so financing it with our full-time jobs. And we also had a lot of help over the years. So many natural farmers, permaculture designers, natural researchers came and lent their time here. So Urban Hijau is actually a result of many people giving their time to us over the last few years. As in the early years, people will come and tell us what to grow, and we would try our best to grow it. So those were things like your normal spinach varieties, brinjal, okra, papaya, banana. Those were the normal varieties people wanted. In the pandemic, things changed. People came to us and asked us, what are you growing? How do I cook it? So then we started to be able to diversify and grow what grows well in the Klang Valley instead of growing what people wanted.
Ironically, it was the COVID-19 pandemic and more than 2 years of lockdown that raised the awareness of their mission and business volume.
So the pandemic was a positive story to us. We are one of the privileged individuals to say the pandemic was a good thing for Urban Hijau. The first reason why it was a good thing is because of the issue of food not being able to enter the Klang Valley. So the borders were shut and fresh produce from Cameron Highlands couldn't enter Selangor. We were growing food within the Klang Valley, within Selangor, within 10 plus kilometers of people. So people came to us and started buying food from us. And that eventually became a cry for food aid. So we had organizations approach us and say, do you do food aid? Because we know people who have not eaten fresh produce in 3 months. So we said, okay, yes, we do food aid, but we had no idea how to finance it. That led us to do a crowdfunding program around Ramadan 2020. We raised funds and covered the food aid for the whole of 2020. In 2021, we managed to get a matching grant based on our crowdfunding. And in 2022, we secured a corporate grant. So since April 2020, we have continued to send out food aid every single week.
One of Urban Hijau's key activity and focus is the outreach program to youth, especially students. They were pleasantly surprised by the overwhelming response from urban city kids who visited them for the first time.
I always love it when students from universities or even high schools, they come for the first time. It's first time being on a farm, and every single thing kind of excites them, and I find it very fascinating because there is that misconception that city people only like city stuff, which is big buildings, skyscrapers and fancy cafes, but actually when you help them reconnect with nature, I see that spark in their eyes. You know, they start to think about the possibilities of having green spaces like that in the urban area. I really hope that more young people like me get involved with farming, but also from not just from this micro perspective, but also, you know, we talk about restaurants, we talk about people who work in the food industry and also in the sustainability industry. How can we marry edible growing spaces with just urban green spaces that is accessible for everybody? Because of course there are so many other different initiatives out there with, you know, forestry and, you know, planting trees, but I think for us there is something special about having green spaces where you can grow your own food.
We recorded 150 species, 150 that we recorded. There's some that we haven't recorded. In 2015, 2016, people used to tell me, this is a good hobby, keep it up. Yeah, it's nice to do this as a hobby. In 2020, 2021, when the pandemic hit, the issue of food security became critical. And suddenly people started coming to me and saying, you're doing what we need. We need this. You know, what you're doing is important. We need to learn more from you. Today, when I say I'm an urban farmer, I no longer get the funny look. I get the look of, oh, really? It's a look of wonder. I want to know more. Where are you based? Can I come and visit you? How can we do this in schools, in residential associations? So the perception of urban farming has changed. Again, the pandemic was a positive story to us. People realized that food security is critical, particularly in the Klang Valley. How do I see the future? We have a big dream at Urban Hijau. We believe that you do not need one 1,000-acre farm. You need 1,000 one-acre farms. Yeah, that is what we need. We need to set up a lot of small farms all over the country that will feed the nation. And when people are closer to where their food is growing, they also experience better quality food, fresher. Literally, for us, our customers get fresh produce that's harvested half an hour to 1 hour before they collect it. Sometimes we harvest as they arrive. They're experiencing lots of freshness, lots of quality. So I foresee that people are going to realize that food security is real. Again, what's happening in the world has reduced the wheat supply of the world. So people are realizing food security is real. We need to address it before it becomes too late.
Grow what grows. Start small. Get it right. Scale up. Integrate rather than segregate. These are the key messages Urban Hijau has been conveying to Malaysians living in urban areas over the last 8 years. This is Basir Siswo reporting for See Today from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.